Man, I need a haircut. Hi guys, it's Tim. Hi guys, vinyl community, everybody. I wanted to make sort of an answer video following the thread of Doctordel, Shannon, and Recordman on Show Us Your Stones. They wanted everybody to show them their stones, and I've actually got a fairly little pathetic collection of stones, but I'm game. For the few of you that have been watching my videos, you might think I have a ton of stones, but I don't. I was never a huge Stones fan when I was younger, and singles sufficed, and by the time I got to be a Stones fan, DVDs came out, and we were all, wow, these sound so much better than the records. So I wound up getting most of the Stones I had on DVD, and settled for the little vinyl that I had, and now it's a lot harder. So I'll show you what I've got. It's not a lot. It really isn't. It may surprise some of you, but before I do that, you guys asked about in Canada, and I don't know Canada, but about the labels, the London Decca, if it's British, stereo mono, and the red and the blue labels. And in America, and I think England too, the red always signifies mono and the blue always signifies stereo. And watching your video, I'm wondering if Canada used red for a while and then decided to follow suit like everybody else. That's kind of my theory on it, that maybe in Canada they were all red for a while, and then on subsequent reissues they started doing the blue and the red like everybody else. I don't know, but that's my theory. And also, before I get started, I wanted to talk a little bit about mono and stereo, because people always ask, especially younger collectors, what's the big deal with mono, and should I get mono, and should I get stereo, and what should I do? And my theory on that is about 67, things reversed. Everybody bought mono originally, most people did, because in the US, mono albums listed for $2.98 and stereo albums listed for $3.98. Well, most people didn't have stereos anyway, so you saved the buck, which was a quarter of the cost, a third of the cost, and you bought the mono. But around 67, when Pepper came out, then things changed and people had stereos, and suddenly they weren't making as many monos, and it switched. So for me, I want my Stones, and I have none of these, but I prefer my Stones in stereo through about 66, and then in mono from then on, as long as they made mono, and that goes with everybody, The Who, The Beatles. For me, as a collector, I want the rarer one. Therefore, I would rather have my Stones in stereo through, between the buttons, let's say, and then maybe between the buttons would be the first one I'd want mono, and then after that, mono. So that's my theory on that. As far as sound, depends on the album. Some albums are mixed really great in stereo, and some are mixed really crappy in mono, or in mono, and vice versa. So some sound better in mono and some sound better in stereo. I think that's personal preference. Anyway, okay, here we go. It starts off good, because I do have the first album, England's newest hit makers, and it is on the red London label, which in America does mean it is a mono copy of the first album. Then we skip ahead to December's Children and Everybody's. That's the next one I have chronologically. And of course, this has some really good stuff on it. Get Off My Cloud, She Said Yeah. I love their version of She Said Yeah. The singer, not the song. Alex Chilton did a great cover of that. And this is also a mono version. And there would be the, once again, the red mono label for December's Children and Everybody's. Now we skip again to Big Hits, High Tide and Green Grass is the next one I have. And it is an original, as these have all been. It's got the gatefold. It's got the book. It's over here. But it's got the book. I won't show it all, but... And once again, the red mono label on London. Now we skip ahead a little bit further to Got Live If You Want It. An album I've never actually been in love with. I don't think it's recorded very well, but it's the 60s and a lot of records weren't live records anyway. But Charlie's got a mustache on the back. That's kind of cool. And it's on a very, very dark red, if you can see that. London mono label. I mean, this thing is very dark maroon. It's very different from the other ones I have. So again, indicating a mono copy. And of course, it's not going to want to go back in the sleeve. There you go. Now we skip ahead a lot to Between the Buttons. This is an original copy. And it's an American. And it is in a mono. There's the back. I haven't been showing the backs. You guys probably all know what they look like. Carl John owned this record. And I have the original inner sleeve, which I love it when I have that. Not that many of these. You can see some classics on there, some zombies and things like that on the London label. And again, the maroon, darker than the others, London label in mono. I have another copy of this album. This one is a Japanese copy, and this is the British album of British version of the Between the Buttons album. It doesn't have the singles on it. It has 14 songs instead of 12, and it doesn't have Ruby Tuesday or Let's Spend the Night Together. It's my favorite Stones album, by the way. And here you go, from Japan, the blue stereo London label. And this is one of my two best, coolest Stones albums, and I have shown this before. Between the Buttons, Japanese. I love this album. Now we skip ahead again to Through the Past Darkly. This is an original octagon kind of deal. It has the gatefold. And it is a stereo copy on the London Blue stereo label. And really good for a greatest hits album. My favorite Stones greatest hits album, probably. Flowers is in there too, which I don't have. And I have another copy, a later pressing, from Holland on Decca Records of Through the Past Darkly. And you see that little thing up there? That's very important, because this bad boy is on a black Decca label on green vinyl. It's the only colored vinyl Stones I have, and it's my other really cool Stones record. I really only have two. And that's one of them. Now we skip ahead a lot, and we get Let It Bleed. Found this at a thrift store. It's a later reissue. It's digitally remastered, and in fact I put in the comments on the second video that you guys did that this is the worst sounding Stones album I have, and indeed it is. It is digitally remastered, great, and it is on this red London reissue label, which the red by this time meant nothing. They were all red, they were all stereo, and that's just the label they had out. And pretty lousy sounding record. This sounds a little better, but it's the same type of deal. Rolling Stones More Hot Rocks, as we skip way ahead again. And I bought this. This is a really nice clean copy, and I bought it because I love the early Stones, and there was some just early songs I really wanted on this record I didn't have. And I'll show the record, but again, I'll leave it in this little baggy thing. There you go. It is the red, same red London label. 2 record set, of course. Really clean copy. So, I mean, it's not old, but it's a really nice clean copy. There's the gatefold there. You can see that. And a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but it's true. This is my second favorite Rolling Stones album. And this is Metamorphosis, the album they didn't want to put out of outtakes and rarities and things that Andrew Lee Logan put out in about '75. And it's on Abco Records. And has its own little Metamorphosis sleeve. And you could get a t-shirt. There's the t-shirt. And it is on this blue Adco label. And I just love side 1 of this record. The earlier songs are just fantastic, I think. And Walking Through the Sleeping City, and Much Rather Be With the Boys, and Don't Lie to Me. Just honestly some of my favorite Stones songs. And I've played a lot of that album on my podcast, probably more than any other Stones album. I like it so much. I have a second copy. This one is German. It's got that never before released stuff on there. It is on Decca. It has its own sleeve as well. Its own little Rolling Stones inner sleeve, which is pretty cool. It's probably about the 3rd coolest Rolling Stones record I have. And it is on a red Decca label, which is kind of cool. Again, stereo. Now we skip way ahead again, and of course I have to have the 12-inch of Miss You, backed with Far Away Eyes, and you can see that there. There's Miss You upside down, and then, no, that's already set up. There's Far Away Eyes upside down. And this thing's pretty clean and cool, and it's the long version of Miss You, and almost down there, folks. In fact, I've only got a couple more. Now we skip way ahead. Rolling Stones' Dirty Work, and this is actually one of my least favorite Rolling Stones albums ever. But it is still in the red shrink with the hype sticker on it, which is why I bought it. It's still got its original red shrink that they put on there, got the hype sticker. Keith Richards' 2 songs on here are my favorites. Never loved that album. And it also has its original cardboard inner sleeve. And yeah, it's on its own Dirty Works record label there. So the packaging is cool. I just don't really love what's inside. Last but not least, I've got 2 compilations. This one just called The Rolling Stones. This is one of these Italian records that they put out, a lot of them, by all kinds of people. Again, it has had early Stones on it I didn't have, and I picked it up pretty cheap. And it's a nice sounding record, actually. It's on Superstar Records. Don't know how legit it is, but sounds alright. And last but not least, I think this was mail order. It's on Abco Records. The Rolling Stones Greatest Hits. It's a 2-record set. Record 2 is what's playing behind me, by the way. And it is on Abco, and I believe it's on the blue Abco again. Andrew Lugola may have done this while the Stones were mad at him before they absolutely fired him. I don't know. But there you go. It's a 2-record set. It's Hot Rocks by Mail, basically. And it's kind of cool. It's got a few things on it I didn't have. Anyway, there you go. There's my minimalistic Rolling Stones collection. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and anybody else that watches this. And as always, if you like this video, subscribe and hit the like button, and also do please check out my podcast at snapcracklepop.podomatic.com. And that's about it. Thanks for watching, and you guys had some killer Stones, by the way. Good job, you guys. And anyway, I'll catch you next time. Bye.